How much does it cost to start a coaching business? Are you in the beginning stages of building a coaching business and you're wondering how much you'll need to invest to get it off the ground? Are you confused about what you should be investing in your business, especially when you're just getting started? If you're wondering how much you should expect to pay to launch a coaching business, you're in the right place because in this video, I'm going to share how much it costs to start a coaching business. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, my name is CourtneyLSanders. I'm an online life and business coach as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things. And I built my coaching business from scratch, right? I didn't have big investors or venture capital, not that they would invest in my little coaching business anyway. And so I know many of you are where I was and you're wondering how much should you set aside to invest? How much is it gonna take? How much does it cost to start a coaching business? So I have invested in my business a lot over the years. I have been full-time for 6 years and I've invested in my business every year, basically every quarter, sometimes every month. And even before then, when I wasn't full-time, but I was doing this on the side, I was investing a lot in different courses, programs, and mentors who were gonna help me grow it to the level that I could do it as my full-time job. So if you relate to any of those situations, maybe you're building your coaching business on the side, and you're like, all right, Courtney, how much more do I need to pony up in order to get this thing really off the ground? We're gonna be talking about that right now. All right, so the first thing that you need to keep in mind, because I'm gonna go over some numbers here and I don't wanna scare you, but it does not cost as much to start a coaching business as it does a brick and mortar business. I mean, think about the poor pizza place or boutique, you know, they have overhead, they have a lease that they have to get into, they have inventory that they have to purchase, they have actual staff and employees that they have to hire, you know, cleaners that come once a week or what have you, internet, security systems, like, launching a business, for the most part, is pretty expensive. And so really, as us online entrepreneurs, I think we're very spoiled, so much so that oftentimes we have an unrealistic expectation and we expect not to invest anything because we feel like, oh, well, you know, it's just online, so I shouldn't have to invest anything. Not true. But I want to remind you, you're definitely not gonna invest as much as you would with a brick and mortar. A brick and mortar, if you're starting that, unless you have the money just set aside, you're pretty much looking to get a loan or an investor to help you do that. But with an online business, it's really great because oftentimes you can self-fund it because the costs are a lot lower. All right, and so before I get into some specific costs, I want to talk about the different costs based on where you are in your business. And so, like I said, I've been investing in my business my entire career for the 6 years that I've been doing this full time, but also for the 2, 3, 4 years plus that I was doing it on the side. And the costs are different based on where you're starting. And so there is a cost to start your online coaching business when you're just getting it off the ground. There are certain things that you need to invest in, but then there's a cost to grow your coaching business, which people often forget. They think like, okay, I did the hurdle. Oftentimes it's a big hurdle for people because we're not used to investing in our own, endeavors. We're used to maybe taking a loan out to go to school, but that's about it. Any other money spent on what we're trying to do, it's like not really a thing. And so oftentimes it's a huge mindset hurdle for people to make where they are willing to cough up the money to grow their business. So once they launch the business, then they forget, hey, it still requires money in order to grow it. And so those are costs that you have to keep in mind as well. There are specific things that you'll want to invest in if you're in the growth part of your coaching business. But then it doesn't stop, and this is the area that I'm in, and there's a lot of expenses that I'm investing in. You don't want to see, what I'm investing in my expense sheet, my business budget, because we're scaling a lot. But that's the scale phase. And so your scale phase, you're going beyond growing, and now you really got your systems in place and you're trying to just dial it up and maybe do more with getting your business out there, more in advertising, maybe you're hiring more staff. That's when things really, really start to grow, and especially if you're getting into that 7-figure realm. So there's lots of different costs associated with starting your online coaching business, but it's gonna be based on where you are in the journey. So keep that in mind. Okay, when you're first getting started, the thing that you want to invest in the heaviest is education. Yep. You want to invest in your education because you want to make sure that you know what you are doing. And again, us online entrepreneurs, we have it easy, or so we think, because we don't have leases, we don't have any of that other brick and mortar stuff that I explained earlier. But the one thing that you're gonna have to spend money on, and you probably should spend money on this even if you do run a brick and mortar, but you especially need to do this in the coaching arena, is you want to spend money on education. Because if you do this correctly, this can be one of the most profitable, lucrative businesses that you can create, not just for yourself, but your family. I love my online coaching business because it truly is the foundation of my family's generational wealth. You know, my husband and I are working to build generational wealth for our children, and my online coaching business is really the foundation that's helping us do that at a clip. A really great clip, in fact. In fact, as I'm recording this, I'm sitting here in the investment property that I purchased cash based on the profits that I generated from my online coaching business. So I would not have been able to do this as quickly as I've been able to do it if it weren't for the education and the mentorship that I invested in. And so when you're first getting started, I would say expect to invest anywhere on the very, very like super low end, maybe $3,000 for like your first educational. This is more like a course if you're not gonna work with someone one-on-one or maybe a group program. So something kind of scaled if you're jumping into somebody's like group program or course, anywhere from like the 3 to like 6, 7K range. But then if you're gonna work with someone one-on-one, and especially if you're gonna work with them over an extended period of time. So when I'm talking about investing in education, I don't mean like a one-off coaching session with a business coach. I'm talking about getting into somebody's program, getting into somebody's mentorship program, or getting into somebody's one-on-one 6-month, 12-month program. I would say once you start to get there, even for just like, I don't want to say run-of-the-mill coach, but even for a run-of-the-mill coach who understands their worth, you're looking to pay, now we're getting into the 10K range. So for education, I would say build a budget of 3K on the very, very low end. Like if you were like just rubbing nickels together and you're like, but I need education to get my business off the ground. I'm just gonna jump in somebody's like course, but I'm gonna get in like a pretty substantial course. Okay, budget about $3,000. And then if you're willing to work with someone one-on-one, start to budget a little more. And if you're willing to join somebody's group program, then maybe in the middle of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. All right, the next thing that you want to invest in, and I'm a stickler for this, is you want to invest in your branding. Your branding is your professional face to the world. We are strangers on computer screens, essentially, to our prospects. And so we forget that because we know ourselves, right? We know us and we think that we're really great. And we expect everybody to just automatically think about us the way we think about us. And that's not the case. People don't know you, and they have this computer screen in front of them where they're trying to interact with you on these virtual platforms. And so the more you can pour into your brand, not just in terms of your logo and your colors, but the more your entire brand can communicate who you are as a person, what you believe, how you go about your coaching practice, like as much as it can really communicate who you are as a person, the better. And so this is not something that you want to cheap out on. I understand that when you are like just getting started, you might be on Fiverr or something like, okay, can I get a quick social media template? Can I get a quick logo? But once you've really nailed down your niche, you know who you're coaching, who your prospects are, you understand the industry that you want to be in, and you're pretty clear on what it is that you want to do, you want to invest some money in branding, and you want to make it, substantial, because this is what gives people a feeling of safety when they interact with you. Like, you don't want to be on somebody's website and it looks janky and you're like, oh my goodness, like if I enter my credit card, am I gonna get identity theft? Like this just feels terrible. You don't want people to have that experience with you. And so as much as your stuff can be seamless and professional and just really tight, it's really gonna set you apart, and it's gonna help you not look like an amateur. Just because you're a newbie doesn't mean you have to be an amateur. You can be pros right out the gate, right? I think about professional sports players. When they go pro, right out of college, or in some cases right out of high school, they're no longer amateurs. Yes, they're new, but they're not amateurs. They're professional, and they're playing in the big leagues. And so if you're new and you're professional, you need to be playing in the big leagues, and all the big leagues players are playing with beautiful brands. So go ahead and set aside, I would say as much as $5K for a really substantial brand. If you are getting really maybe very talented designer, like fresh out of college, or someone who's willing to do it for much less, perhaps you can get away with $2,000-$3,000, but we all know inflation is through the roof, so I'm expecting prices are gonna be much higher than what I'm quoting anyway. So just go ahead and budget about a $5K, and that's gonna be really good, again, to get an entire brand identity done. And this is just to get started. Just so we're clear, my brand that you see, my new logo, I mean, if you look at some of my older videos 2 years ago, my brand was great, but we've up-leveled since then. Your girl paid a lot more than 5K. Your girl paid 5 figures for that entire brand identity. So understand, again, you're playing with people in the big leagues, there's big investments. And so if you're just getting started, I'm not saying that you have to play at that level, but don't play at the like, I'm gonna go on $5 or $20 level. Like, come correct, play like you are a professional, and go ahead and budget a few $1,000s aside in order to get your brand looking good. All right, the next thing that you're gonna be investing in order to get your online coaching business off the ground are systems. And so this is something people don't think about, but it starts to add up. So maybe you have a social media scheduler. I really like Later. Maybe you like Hootsuite or Planoly, or something that helps you get all your social media scheduled out so you're not doing it in real time. You know, these little apps, it's like 19 bucks a month for that. Maybe you have some sort of email marketing software, ConvertKit, MailChimp. I really like ActiveCampaign. There's Keep. There's all these different tools out there. Depending on how many people are on your email list, you're looking, I think at the base, probably like $50 a month, and it goes up from there, maybe $99 a month, $119 a month, $229. As your audience is gonna grow, you're gonna be spending more on these different tools and different softwares. So we did email marketing, there's your social media scheduling, maybe a bit of ads, maybe you have a virtual assistant, maybe you have other tools, maybe you like Google Suite so that you can have a professional email address and use all of the Google tools. Just all these little things, it adds up. 19 here, $20 here, $50 here, $100 here. Landing pages. Maybe you have a landing page software so that you can capture emails and you can offer freebies to your list. That's gonna cost you as well. Those typically run at least about $100 a month, and some $200 or even $300 a month depending on what you're using. Your website hosting, that's a big one, right? How much are you paying for hosting per month? So when we add all of this stuff up, I would say on like the absolute low end, like you have like a Spartan brand, barely any systems behind the end, you might be paying a few $100s, maybe like $500 a month. But I think on average for newbies who are beginning, that number is gonna be getting closer to $1,000 a month, which is why I talk a lot about how to price your products and services. In fact, I even have a video about how to price your coaching programs. You can check that out right here. But this is why I talk about why it's so important to make sure that you are pricing appropriately, because this is not a free-for-all, right? Even this video that I'm recording for you is free for you to watch, but it wasn't free for me to record, right? All of this stuff costs money. And as you get into business, you'll find that it costs money to run a business. And so you wanna make sure that you're pricing appropriately to be able to pay for all those little systems and tools in the background. All right, and the next thing that you're probably gonna be paying for is sweat equity. You might be paying for it literally with your sweat and your work and your time. So no, this is not gonna cost you money, but I put this on the list because so often we discount our own time and our own effort. Definitely don't do that. Even if you're not at a place where you can pay yourself in your business, you still want to be documenting the work that you're doing for the business, because that is valuable and you are paying with something, right? You're not paying money, but you're paying with sweat equity. And so this is all the work that you're doing to make all of these things work, all the systems work, all the YouTube videos that you're putting together, all the social media that you're posting, all of this stuff that you've invested in. Then there's you, and that is an investment as well. But you might find pretty quickly that you want to start investing in some help, even if it's a part-time virtual assistant. I always tell people I paid not one, but 2 virtual assistants before I paid myself and before I quit my job. So I was working my 9-to-5 job, and I had 2 virtual assistants that worked in the Philippines, and they were able to schedule social media for me and answer customer service requests, and our hours were opposite, so they could do a lot of work when I was working in the morning at work and couldn't be there. It was their evening time, and so they were off and kind of handling a lot of these things. It doesn't have to be very expensive, but even if you're finding a virtual assistant for like $7 an hour and you're working with them maybe 10 hours a week, again, that adds up. So you want to factor that in. And so as soon as you can move from, your sweat equity to getting some support, even if it's just part-time or less than part-time, 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, you want to make that investment because it's going to help you get your business off the ground. All right, so when we add all these things up, right, between 3 to 10K for your first education program, 3 to 5K for your branding, $500 to $1,000 for some of those systems, maybe more for getting some virtual assistants. You're looking at a cool 15K to get your online coaching business off the ground. And the cool thing is it doesn't have to happen at once. I definitely stair-stepped my way. Anytime I earned a little bit of money, whether it was from an ebook. My first big sale, I made $1,000, but I did it with a partner, so we split it, so I had $500. But that $500 I was able to reinvest back into the business. And then my next sale, I made $4,000. And so from there, I got my first real website. I paid money to get that done. So I invested as the money came in and as I grew. But that first year, I probably landed at the amount that I've told you, and it definitely goes up from there. I mean, last year alone, I invested over $100,000 in my business, and this year is probably looking like we're going to be doing the same. So the journey of investing in your business doesn't stop, but the beauty of it is that your business keeps growing. And if you want your business to grow, I'm really excited to invite you to my 6-Figure from Scratch seminar. Yes, this is a brand new online training that I have where I'm gonna show you how to build a 6-figure coaching business from scratch, how I've personally done it. You can sign up by clicking the link below. Again, this is my 6 Figures from Scratch seminar. It's completely free. Go ahead and sign up, pick a time that works for you, and I'll see you inside. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I have for you. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you can't wait until my next video, come on over to my podcast. It's the Courtney Sanders Show on both iTunes and Spotify, where I talk about business stuff and so much more, family stuff, spiritual stuff, personal development stuff, finance stuff, all the things. It's a lot of fun over there. And if you can't wait until my next podcast, come on over to the Instagram fam. Go ahead and leave a comment on my latest post. Let me know that you watched this video. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.